Hello, Doug here with Abishai Tactical Solutions. Wanted to come at you again today with another video. Had a question come in last week about carry positions, and in particular the question was asking about what are some of the alternatives when carrying up front doesn't really work for you. And believe me, I understand getting a little older and fighting the battle on the bulge, especially after a good meal, sometimes difficult to carry comfortably up front. And you know, comfort is definitely a concern when you're carrying your firearm, concealability, all those things are concerns. But you've heard us say this before, and Mark and I both have talked about this. We both carry up front. And there's a very simple reason for it. Carrying here at this position allows you to get a grip on your firearm quickly and deploy it and get it in the fight. Now let me just take a minute and make this firearm safe. See that? Visually and physically inspect that firearm's been made safe now. When you and let me just say this first off, when you get in a gunfight, if you have an attacker, where do you want to be carrying your gun? Well, you want it right here. This is where your gun is going to be when you're having to use it to defend yourself. So anything short of this is a compromise. Now, obvious problem, we can't walk around the grocery store at the high compressed ready position. Obviously that'll get us in trouble, cause quite a stir. So anything short of that is a compromise. So what I would encourage you to do, make the least compromise that you have to make. And of course the trade-off between comfort, concealability, and ability to access the firearm and get it into the fight. Those are the key considerations, with the latter being the most important. So if you can't carry up front, this is ideal, because this is where your hands are. This is where we do everything with our hands, and so whenever you're confronted with an attacker, this is where you're going to be, this is where you get to it quickly and deploy it, get in the fight. So this is ideal. This is first choice. If you're unable to do that, and if this doesn't work for you, and everybody has to make a personal choice that works for them. If you can't do that, there's some options. One option that comes to mind is an ankle holster. An ankle holster is something that you can carry. If you do carry an ankle holster, you're going to have to use a pretty small firearm. I used to carry a small revolver in an ankle holster. I'll tell you, that was as my backup gun. It wasn't my primary weapon, simply because of the fact it's still hard to get to. If you think about it, and if you do carry an ankle holster, if you're right-handed, put the holster on your inside your left foot. That's the easiest to get to quickly, either by raising your leg or going down onto one knee to get to the firearm. Still not ideal, but that is a choice, an option for you. If that option doesn't work for you, another option is going on your belt at the 3 o'clock position. Now this is a paddle holster, which makes it easy to come on and off with it. So I can, using a holster that's outside the waistband, you can do inside the waistband here as well, but outside the waistband at the 3 o'clock position. Now, I think this is one of the better compromises. Again, as we say, any choice can be a compromise. This is one of the better ones, simply because my hands are at my side. I can get to the firearm quickly and deploy it. And most people of most body types are able to carry here. Now, you may have a little more printing here depending on your holster and your clothing choices. You probably have to wear a cover garment of some kind, either a jacket or a shirt. So again, based on your clothing choices, body type, this could be an option for you. If that is not an option, you can go further back to the 4 o'clock position. Now, if you go that far back to the 4 o'clock position, I don't recommend going past 3 o'clock if you can avoid it, simply because it's unnatural to get to around your back. It's more difficult, it takes longer. If you do go to the 4 o'clock position, let me just remove that. I would recommend you get a holster like this that has a forward cant. You can see how that's leaning forward, canted forward slightly. The reason for that is when you get further back, when you draw, you're coming forward. And so having that forward cant assist you in that draw and coming out with the firearm. Now, there's a lot of people that like to carry small in the back. If that works for you, you have to make that choice. I will tell you, I do not recommend that. I think that is one of the worst choices you can make. A couple of reasons. Again, it's very unnatural to try to go back here to draw. It takes too long. The other problem with it is when you draw from back here, you are going to muzzle yourself as you come out with a firearm. You would be surprised how often there is an accidental discharge. Somebody puts their finger inside the trigger guard as they draw under stress. In that stressful moment when somebody's attacking you with a knife or someone's shooting at you, you're going to want to get that first shot off as quickly as possible. And it's very, it's just possible you could put your finger in that trigger guard too soon and fire as it's coming out. And if you're doing it from here, you can end up shooting yourself. So, not ideal. And so I really do not recommend small in the back. But again, it's a personal choice. And if that's the only thing that works for you, then do that. But practice your draw, practice it safely. Make sure you can come out quickly, keeping that finger off the trigger. Have a holster that covers the trigger guard. Any holster you choose needs to cover the trigger guard. We've talked about this in some of our videos. I have a video on holster selection. If you haven't seen that, go check it out. But always have a holster that covers the trigger guard so your finger is kept outside the trigger guard as you draw. And then practice drawing and keeping that finger outside the trigger guard until you get on the target. So be safe in whatever choice you make. So you have ankle holster, you have the 3 o'clock position, you have the 4 o'clock position. Any of those I can recommend. Remember, if you go 4 o'clock, get a 4-cant holster. Another option a lot of people maybe don't think of, if carrying on the belt doesn't work for you, another option is a shoulder holster. A shoulder holster is a valid choice to make if you can't carry on the belt. Now again, your clothing choices are going to be important here. You're going to have some kind of a cover garment. But whatever body type you are, most of us could use a shoulder holster. And if you have a cover garment, a jacket, or a light shirt over it, it conceals pretty easily. You have 2 spare mags on the right side here, firearms here with a thumb brake. So it's pretty easy to get to that firearm and deploy it quickly from a shoulder holster. So that's another option that you might want to consider if you haven't ever considered that. And there's lots of different choices in a shoulder holster. Either a leather one like this one. This is one from Galco. You've got some of the inexpensive ones. I have one over here, but inexpensive ones that are made of the kind of the mesh material. Mayhem Leather Company, my son-in-law Chris, Mayhem Leather makes some beautiful shoulder holsters in leather, either plain leather or exotic skin leather if you want something like that. So that's a good option for you as well, if you haven't considered that. Whatever you choose, practice your draw, practice it safely with a safe firearm at first. Practice it when you get comfortable with your draw, get out on the range and practice it, and so that you're ready whenever it comes time to deploy that weapon. And again, make good choices, make the least compromise that you have to. If at all possible, carry up front. If not, look at that 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock position on the belt or a shoulder holster. Those are all good options. So I hope that's been helpful. Give us some feedback, make some comments. If you like these videos, we'll keep these coming. If you have ideas for other things you'd like to see, let us know, and we'll try to get to those. Again, and as always, we want to tell you God loves you. Have a great weekend. Remember, you're the apple of God's eye.